there, it's your Wisconsin wine guy, aka sake guy. I'm gonna have my sake hat on because it is cold, cold, cold now. We are coming into winter here in Wisconsin, and that means full body wines, warm sake, in addition to room temperature sake. And the sake we're going to be talking about today fits that bill. So, for those who are new here, I'm your Wisconsin sake guy. You know, I'd like to introduce you to different sakes by being somewhat educational, but also introducing you to different sakes, not only made out of Japan, but also made domestically. There's quite a few breweries, sake breweries, in the United States that are making sake, and I try to get my hands on those as well and showcase those to you. These are, just like I do the wines, these are sakes that you can purchase probably where you purchase most of your alcohol beverages from. Liquor stores, grocery stores, and some wine shops that may have a few sakes on hand, or maybe even some sake shops where they focus and specialize in sake. All right, so now we are going to be looking into the Kasumi Tsuru from the Hyogo Prefecture out of Japan. This is one of their sakes. It's called the Kimoto Extra Dry. Okay, Kimoto Futushu. Now, Futushu means everyday sake, but the key thing here is Kimoto. Kimoto is a method in which the sake is produced. It's an old school method, like they call it, an old school method in which the rice is pulverized, to create the yeast starter, or to create the starter, for fermenting the rice. So it's a labor-intensive process, but it yields sake with such depth, such character, such complexities. So that's what we have here. Futushu being its style of sake. This is a 68% rice polishing ratio. Remember that? Polishing off the outer hull of the rice to get down to the quality levels. Well, this is 68%, which is typical, 68 to 70% typical rice polishing ratio for Futushu style sake. But again, everyday drinking sake. It's like everyday drinking wine, everyday drinking sake, but this has that special method. In fact, this brewery is one of the few that still produces all of their sake in the Kimoto style, that old, labor-intensive, but quality style of sake. This is coming in at 16% alcohol. Woo, baby! I mean, this is the thing about sake. They're gonna be up there in alcohol. Okay, so this is gonna be 16% alcohol, no additional alcohol added. Looking forward to trying this. Let's give it a try. I have my wine glass, for this one. I also have my sake cup. Now I have here, I'm gonna do a little food with it as well. I have here a seafood bisque, and we're in the cold season now, cold part of the year. So I have a seafood bisque, that I made that has shrimp, shrimp, mussels, clams, scallops, oysters, and crab is all a part of this, pumpkin seafood bisque, and a little bit of heat to it as well. Not just the temperature heat, but a little bit of cayenne pepper added to this. I like to have some heat in my foods, in my soups, especially so it be warm all the way through. So I'm going to have that with this sake and give it a try. But first, let's taste the sake. Okay. And here is a toast to you, to this cold part of the year. If you're in a cold climate, let's warm it up, right? Here we go. Wow, great acidity. Now I have this at about 50 degrees, and when it hits my palate, it warms up even more, because I want to bring out the richness, extra dry, because this is probably off the scale, as far as dryness goes. Negative being sweet, positive being dry. The middle of the scale, it was balanced. So this is probably off the scale, but dry. But it has great flavor to it. Which is what I'm tasting. Ooh, I mean, the finish one is nice too. So now let me taste this again. Let me put this in my wine glass so I can get a nose as well. a nose in addition to a taste. I just like drinking out of these little sake cups. These are ceramic style sake cups I have here. Now, let's get that nose. Definitely pick up the nose on some rice, almond, I'm trying to pick up what fruit I get from here. It doesn't necessarily have to pick up any fruit, but I'm just curious. I'm going to go with a little banana, okay? But definitely pick up those rice notes. Now, let's taste it out of the wine glass. Now, tasting out of the wine glass makes it drier, okay? Now, the most important thing here is trying this Kimoto Extra Dry, Kimoto Futushu, or everyday sake with my seafood bisque. That has some heat to it, don't it? Hopefully I don't burn my tongue. If I burn my tongue, I'm going to ruin it for the sake. Let's just try with just the pumpkin and broth itself. Now, I'm this guy. I don't make soups that isn't chicken with chicken stock. Okay, that's not me. So I did make a really nice seafood broth, you know, with the shells from the shrimp and the shells from the crab. You know, so I did make a nice little broth, you know, to add to the puree and blended that with some water. And then just everything else just slow cooking, building flavors, right? Just give it a taste. Don't burn the tongue. Wow, that's nice. That's without actually having the seafood and just tasting the pumpkin in the broth itself. Definitely get the combination of all the different seafood types. Oh yeah. And that fullness, again, this is at a cool temperature, but that fullness of the sake works great. You know, the complexity that exists here in that Kimoto method, building that umami, this is like fantastic together. Let's get some scallops and some shrimp to go with this. Oh, let's throw a little mussel in there too. Oh wow. Now, with food, it brings out more of the natural fruitiness, you know, out of the sake. Let's try with the wine glass. Oh wow. You would not think this is a dry sake, having it with food. Just like wine, think about sake the way you think about wine and food, and how the food itself, and especially the complexities of flavors, can change the sake, just like it could change the wine. A wonderful pairing. I wasn't sure how this was going to go. I love the way the sake works with the little heat, spiciness that I have in this soup, in this bisque. So, it's your sake guy, Wisconsin sake guy, saying to you as always, let your palate be the guide. We're selecting your sake and pairing your sake with your food. It is soup season. I've been doing a lot of things with soups and wine and soups and sake, so get ready for that. I'll see you next time. Come by.